be honest, I feel like it's eating me up inside as if it's haram.
Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
تعبتني, what do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if Sweet's beef gelatin is halal or haram.
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعالي هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch Ahkam SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show that takes in your questions, so if you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them via the WhatsApp. The QR code should be there in the corner. If not, if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be able to discuss and answer them. If you want to call in, 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK, and if you're outside the UK, just call our WhatsApp number there below. We'll be more than happy to speak with you. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma'ash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are we doing this evening, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah.
Fantastic. Sheikhna, I've got questions already coming in from all my viewers, so let's begin. From WhatsApp, I live in Holland. Can I sell marijuana as it is legal here?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Selling drugs, as mentioned before, it's forbidden. Our ulama have made the fatwa that you cannot consume or buy or sell drugs, because there are instant and immediate harm compared to other types of
would they be considered intoxicants?
على كل حال, there is a harm, an immediate and serious harm as a result of smoking or using drugs at the end of the day, unlike smoking cigarettes and shisha.
Fair enough. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the significance of rain when making dua? I've heard many times your dua is increased in rain.
Yes, indeed. We have a narration by the authority from Imam Ali alayhi salam, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, اغتنموا الدعاء عند خمسة مواطن. Take the opportunity in five, let's say, aspects. So when it happens, عند قراءة القرآن, when the Quran has been recited, then pray, make dua. وعند الأذان, and when the adhan is called, again pray, just before you start the salah. وعند نزول الغيث, and when the rain is coming. So at the time of rain, pray and ask Allah Azza wa Jalla your hajat. وعند التقاء الصفين, when the two armies face each other in the front line. So the army of the non-believers with the army of the believers and the mu'mineen. In that moment, before they start fighting, ask Allah Azza wa Jalla. If you're a soldier, let's say, within that army, mu'mineen, of course. وعند دعوة المظلوم, and when the madloom prays to Allah Azza wa Jalla for his oppression that he faced. فإنها ليست لها حجاب دون العرش. There's no hijab, there's no screen or cover or protection from not being answered and sent to Allah Azza wa Jal.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
How low can I place the Quran during recitation to pause? Is putting it on the lap or floor permissible to adjust one's garment or position? Sheikhna, many people will be reciting Quran, they need to put it down for a second, maybe they want to answer a phone call or they want to sort their clothes or something like that. Is it okay to put it on your lap? Is it okay to put it on the floor? Normally we have Quran stands. If they haven't got a Quran stand, what can they do? Should they put it on their head and then?
I mean, what is discussed as a fiqh issue that it shouldn't cause any kind of breaching sanctity of the Holy Quran. If it's really as a sign of breaching the sanctity by leaving the Quran on the floor and someone's passing, maybe hitting the Quran with his leg, with his feet or legs, for example, then of course that's a breach of sanctity. So best places to put on the shelf, for example, just above one's body. Yeah.
How long can I place the Quran? Oh, sorry, did that one. Salam, Sheikhna. Why can't you cut your nails at night after Maghrib? Sheikhna, according to the Risala Amaliyah, I don't think there is anything wrong with cutting your nails at night. So it's not haram. However, is it encouraged to do it in the daytime? How does it work?
Yes, indeed. It's been encouraged that to cut the nails on Friday. And one of the ulama, they discovered his body. I don't know what happened exactly. It was like a flood or something. They took out his body from the grave. And he took his nails on Thursday. And he left one finger for the next day, which is Friday. So he wants to get the both thawab, because it's been also mentioned to cut the nails on Thursday or Friday. So he actually left one finger for Friday, but he passed away on the night of Thursday, seems to be.
So he couldn't cut, unfortunately. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is getting married literally completing half of your deen, or just preventing from potential leading to haram? That's from YouTube.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the narration states that من تزوج فقد أحرز نصف دينه فليتق الله في النصف الآخر. The one who gets married, he has eventually achieved and observed half of his religion. Because with marriage, of course, if somebody doesn't get married, then he is exposed to the shaitan and to the corrupt society, evil friends, the opposite gender issues, sometimes the same gender, na'udhu billah, in some places. So the best way is to get married, and you have the next half of your belief, aqidah, you have to, of course, observe and preserve by taqwa, piety, observing and implementing the wajib, refraining from the haram, and so forth.
What is the expiation for a broken oath? And that's from YouTube. Expiation, I think, means the penalty or the kafara for breaking a qasam or another.
Yes, and overall, as mentioned by some ulama, that one can actually give 10 poor individuals kafara. Yeah.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it allowed to play with cards without doing any bets? I'm assuming they're saying playing cards, ace, club, heart, those ones. Can we play with them if we're not betting or anything like that? Playing a game of Snap.
If these are gambling games and tools as used before, then of course it's forbidden, any kind of gaming. So you have to avoid playing with these types of gambling games.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it considered backbiting or gossiping if you're venting to a therapist about someone? That's a very good question. Sometimes we have to, when we take therapy, we have to mention the wrongs that people have done, or if someone has said something to upset us, we have to mention the defects and defaults of individuals, which is considered as backbiting in Islam, to mention people's defects and so forth.
With their names or without their names?
You may be able to do it without their names.
Without, fine.
If you do it without the names, it's okay?
You never know who that person is.
Fair. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can I be intimate on a horse? Okay, so I'm assuming husband and wife want to be intimate on a horse. Is this acceptable? Is this allowed? I guess it'd be quite difficult actually. But
I mean, what has to be looked into is that the issue of this intimacy, not from the horse itself, because sometimes some people would actually use animals, na'udhu billah, to do this as a means of arousing the lust and temptation. As I've said before, using any tools, any materials, and any toys, for example, that would arouse the lust to reach that, climax with, with the wife or husband. That's the issue. I mean, it has to be done only between those two parties, between the husband and the wife, and nothing else to be involved in arousing the lust.
I mean, Sheikh, now, what about when Arabs used to use camels to travel for a couple of days, a carriage on top of a camel? Would that be okay?
That's fine, as I've said. But now the issue of because there's a mas'ala here that it's mentioned that when there's a moving like a ship, for example, it's makruh to have the intercourse in that moving, let's say, ship, and so forth. It's been mentioned fiqhiyan that do not have that.
Is there something also in regards to an open sky? You should be indoors.
In front of the sun, for example, yeah.
In front of the sun?
Yeah, for example, sky, where people might be able to look in somehow.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been mentioned some makruhat for the intercourse, but not haram as well, as mentioned.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. Is it allowed to wear a ring on any of the fingers? Because I heard that you shouldn't wear it on the index finger.
I mean, the main place for wearing the finger is this
These
finger,
two
basically.
fingers,
These
isn't
two,
it?
yeah, mainly. The others, I've not seen anything bad.
From YouTube, are we granted Jannah if our last words were La ilaha illallah?
The one who has a strong and correct and perfect belief in the Tawheedullah Azza wa Jal, Allah's oneness, in the Adlullah, Allah's justice, in the prophethood of all the prophets, and the Imam of Ahlul Bayt, alayhi salam, the 12 Imams of Ahlul Bayt, and the Ma'ad or Qiyamah, then of course this individual would be, inshallah, yurja and yughfar lah, that would be forgiven. Of course, there are sins that needs to be cleansed. Now, those sins maybe through illness in this dunya, an accident, loss of wealth, loss of property, loss of life, maybe one of the, let's say, loved ones, to see the musibah and calamities. These are all tools for purifying this mu'min and mu'minah. If not in the time of the death, ihtidar, if not inside the grave, the crush of the grave, na'udhu billah, if not in the barzakh, adab al-barzakh, na'udhu billah, if not on the day of qiyamah, in that horrifying day, to be cleansed with punishments and so forth, if not, na'udhu billah, in the hellfire for some time, and is pulled out and taken to Jannah as a result.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna and Sayyid. Alaikum salam. After the Shahada of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, where did the Murtajis, the Zuljana, go?
I have no idea. I haven't read anything
I've
particular
heard,
that.
and I'm talking about from the Mimbar, so I haven't read it in a book. There's one that says it just ran off into the into the dust, into the sun, and it wasn't seen again. Others say that it saw the calamities that fell upon Sayyidah Zainab salam alayha, and the burning of the tents and so forth, and it started to it hit his head.
Yeah.
It hit his head on a rock, lamenting.
Exactly.
And did this until he died,
Exactly.
so forth. I've heard these are some things that we've heard, but we can't prove anything because I haven't read it in a book, so don't know whose opinion that was. Sheikhna, assalamu alaikum. Did Prophet Jesus Christ speak Arabic? Arabic was introduced, so the Fusha Arabic, Sheikhna, was Prophet Ismail was the one who spoke it first.
Yes.
And introduced this language to the Meccans and so forth, and from then on it spread throughout the whole of Arabia. But Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, would he have spoken Arabic? The Bible or the Christians say he spoke Aramaic,
Yeah.
which is very could be considered Fusha Arabic or very, very classical old Arabic?
I mean, the Holy Quran mentions the words of Isa alayhi salam when he was born and brought to the rabbis and the Bani Israel. He said, to show as a miracle, he said that Inni Abdullah atani al-kitab wa ja'alni nabiyya. So he spoke, I mean, the words are in Arabic. Are these translations of Isa's words when he spoke to those rabbis, for example? I don't know really.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum to you both. Alaikum salam. As you are well, hope you are well as the viewers. Hope you are both well, inshallah. Thank you very much. We're doing good. I have an interview tomorrow, so please keep me in your dua. Shukran.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, we pray that you are successful in your interview. And inshallah, if this job is good for you, may Allah give it to you. If not, then may Allah give you something better in return. From YouTube, can I eat fish that is haram if I'm in a country that I can't find halal food?
Usually, one can avoid the haram food by eating something else. Let's say vegetables. You can cook food with vegetables, aubergine and other types of vegetables you can use. So you cannot bring an excuse that I can't eat meat because it's all haram.
Yes.
And the only halal meat available is the haram fish. No, you can't. You have to avoid. The exceptions are for those who are facing starvation and they're dying. Then they can eat meat, haram meat, just an amount that would keep them alive.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. If a female wants to be a medical doctor, can she avoid to get married if the work is too demanding? So, Sheikhna, is this a good enough excuse not to get married? I don't want to get married. I'm not thinking about marriage. I'm focusing on my career. Both male and female. Some females, they are at a good age to get married, 21, 22, 23. I don't want to get married right now. I've just finished my degree. I want to, go work in a law firm and work my way up and, earn some money and establish myself as a lawyer or whatever career they want to. Is this a valid excuse to stay away from marriage?
I mean, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that an-nikah sunnati, it's the prophetic sunnah, and there's no exceptions with this regard in the hadith. وَأَنْكِحُ الْأَيَامَ, the Holy Quran, that marry them, those وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ يُغْنِيهِمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. There's encouragement in the Holy Quran and the hadith and the sunnah to get married, and especially early marriage. I know some individual who reached the age of 40 and they didn't get married because of the issue of studying medical, and they became doctor, of course. But 40, I mean, it's difficult. This is a need for a human being, as they need to eat, to sleep. They need to fulfill this desire as well. Yes. And that's only be done through the marriage and nothing else.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. How do I see Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in my dreams? You need to do a handstand and read the Quran backwards 3 times. I'm joking. Sheikhna, how to see the Prophet in your dreams? If you can see the Prophet in your dreams. I mean, even if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to come in your dreams, how would you recognize that this is the Prophet? Would you get to see his face? Would there be too much nude? Do they come in your dreams?
I mean, there are some a'mal mentioned in some of the books I've read that if you want to see Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, for example, Imam Ali salamullah alayhi, read this dua, do this act. There are some acts to be done before you sleep, for example, a few ad'iyah, few verses to recite. So, I mean, we have ru'ya sadiqa, true dreams. It's not all of it is wrong and satanic dreams.
Fair. From YouTube, which games are forbidden in Islam, specifically in fiqh Jafariya alayhi salam? Which games are considered haram? So we have games such as chess, anything related to gambling really. That's poker, roulette. What other games may there be? Games that probably involve death. Do you know any other games that could be considered haram?
As you mentioned, mainly the gambling games. إنما الخمر والميسرة. So maisir, gambling games would be forbidden. So whatever is known as gambling games originally, then of course it's forbidden. Or let's say it's not a gambling game, it's a football match, but somebody gambles on it, that game becomes haram.
Yeah.
Because of the gambling and not because of the game. The game is permissible to watch or to play football, but because there's a gambling involved, because of that gambling, it becomes haram.
If the cookware you have is old and unsafe, but your husband won't purchase new, can you feed him and the family with the unsafe cookware? That's a very good question, Sheikh. So, pots and pans. Sometimes it might even be a plastic tub that we put food in and we put it in the fridge. These things have an effect on the food and can cause issues. We're told not to use utensils or crockery with cracks because bacteria get stuck in there and it's very hard for it to come out. That can get into your food and give you an upset stomach and so forth. So, Sheikhna, this individual was saying that her husband's not buying her new crockery or new pots and pans for her to cook with. She feels or she fears that the food will be contaminated and can cause harm. What should she do? Should she continue to cook or should she protest?
I mean, the ulama would leave this matter to the individual to decide. You know, sometimes the norm, the urf, is the one who decides if this is seriously harmful, then you have to avoid it. So we cannot say this is going to be not permissible or permissible. The issue is to do with, the urf. If they said this is seriously harmful, of course you have to avoid. You don't want to cause serious illness to your family members or even death, la samahallah. So you have to judge yourself.
Okay, I believe we have a caller on the line. Inshallah, we're able to get through to them. Assalamu alaikum, viewer. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can Jesus do motto?
Okay, thank you for your question. Inshallah, we're going to ask the Sheikh now and we're going to get his answer. Can Jesus do latam? In fact, Sheikhna, do any of the awliya, the nabis, the imam, do they do latam? Do they beat their chest?
We have narrations from Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. If one wants to know the reality of these acts, to go back to the narrations of Ahl Bayt, when they narrate that the first individual who cried on Imam Hussein alayhi salam was Adam alayhi salam.
Yes.
And there was a discussion and talk with Adam and Jibreel, talking about what's going to happen in Karbala.
Was he actually on the land of Karbala? Was he there?
It's mentioned that the prophets, especially
all prophets,
Ibrahim alayhi salam, they walked through Karbala
and they took a minute to stop
exactly,
and they cry and lament and
yes, exactly.
weep for Imam Hussein.
This is something goes back thousands of years. It's not something new. And in terms of lamentation, of course, when you want to lament somebody, you can use all the means and the methods to do so. Now we have technology. And now we are preaching and giving da'wah and sermon over the satellite channels.
We are now, yeah.
Can you say this is a bid'ah or not acceptable? No. Because the Prophet ﷺ did not give da'wah on the internet or YouTube.
Or on the microphone.
Exactly. So these are all technology. Things develop. And the fiqh also develops. Doesn't sticks to one thing, as it was 14th century ago.
From YouTube, Sheikhna, if I had handshakes with a Christian girl when she was not mahram to me and now I've done mut'ah with her, do I still get punished for the last handshakes? Good question, Sheikhna. Right, so if I have done something which is haram and now I have turned it around, I've made it halal upon me, do I still get, the punishment for what I've done or am I forgiven?
Just do istighfar, that's it. وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. Ghaffara means Allah would forgive, certainly, inshallah.
Salam, Mandem. Alaykum salam. Yeah, it's always nice to hear from a brother. I work in Western environment and sometimes I enter uncomfortable situations where I have to shake hands with the opposite gender. What do I do? As normally I feel the peer pressure to shake their hands. Well, first of all, what I like to do is tell them that I've got OCD and I don't shake anybody's hand. But Sheikhna can give you some other ideas, inshallah. Sheikhna, what do we do when we go somewhere for a business meeting or we're going for a job interview and there's someone of the opposite gender sticks their hand out?
I think the best way and the protocol is to inform the interviewer over the phone, for example, or the company or the client.
I won't be shaking
That
hands.
one of my conditions is that I don't really shake hand because of the religious issue.
Yeah.
So they have the information, so they don't get embarrassed when she stretches her hands to shake hand. Secondly, if somebody is compelled to do so, there's no way one can wear gloves and shake hand without pressing film, of course, just to avoid the embarrassment.
Fair.
If you're compelled, of course.
From YouTube, whom should we follow in current scenario as the person belongs to Ahlul Bayt? Who should we follow in current scenario as that person belongs to Ahlul Bayt? I'm not sure what the question is there. You should be following the Ahlul Bayt, and if not, our prestige Maraja here over my shoulder, you should be following one of them when it comes to Ahkam. But if you can rephrase your question, we'll try and answer it again properly. We weren't really sure what you were trying to ask there. Can a father allow a non-mahram to live in his house whilst he and his wife and daughter living with him?
Well, they have to preserve all the ahkam of the non-mahram. So if this individual is a male non-mahram to the wife and wear hijab, and to avoid to be without the hijab, to be in a separate room, for example, not in the same room, and so forth. They have to preserve all the the boundaries and limits of the hijab issues mainly. Yeah.
Excellent. Sheikh, now we're going to go to a short break, but please guys continue sending in your questions. I've got loads to go through, but if you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it via the WhatsApp. If you're watching on social media, put it in the comment section, and inshallah we'll continue our discussion after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars. Is it permissible to plant trees by or over
Islam
the
established based on peace and non-violence?
Is it permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars. Is it permissible to plant trees by or over
Islam
the
established based on peace and
non-violence? Is it permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
DNA test. Yes, you can send in your questions via the WhatsApp number, should be there on the bottom. Scan the QR code, it'll take you straight to the WhatsApp page. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your comments in the put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah the technical team will send them to me on my little handy iPad here. If you want to call in, 0203 515 0199. If you're in the UK, if you're outside the UK, you can use the WhatsApp number there below. We had one call today. I believe that was from Pakistan. So assalamu alaikum to everyone there in Pakistan. But yeah, feel free to put in your questions. This is what we're here for. You can ask on anything, any topic whatsoever. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to know where you're asking from. Just put your question in anonymously, and inshallah myself and the Sheikh will do our best to answer your questions. Salam alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Let us continue. Salam. I prayed salah and did sajda for forgetfulness, and I still have doubts. How do I move forward? Sheikh, a lot of people do have problems with keeping track of salah, which raqah that they're in or which sujood they're doing. I find either you can get these tools that have the turba on, and when you prostrate, it will count. It will say your first rak'ah, first sujood, first sajda, or first rak'ah, second sajda, and so forth. And you can monitor which rak'ah you're in.
Exactly.
My friend, he drew on his turba 1, 2, 3, and 4, and he turns it every time he finishes his rak'ah and so forth. So there's many ways you can try and keep track. But the main thing is to concentrate. Try to ignore all other thoughts that are coming to your head. Try and focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and focus on what you're saying. That will very much help you in your salah, inshallah. From YouTube, Sheikhna, is it permissible to do a DNA test for the authentication for Sayyids? So those who claim that they are Sadat, that they are Sayyids, is it okay to do a DNA test to prove that they are Sayyids?
What the ulama mentioned that you cannot prove the nasab in terms of who you belong to, for example, through DNA. It has to be through authenticated or authentic means and methods. Shajara, the tree, family tree, trustees, for example, those witnesses, for example. It's not easy just with the DNA. Yeah.
Wassalam. Can I be aroused from intimate photos or videos of my deceased partner? Well, the question is, can you be aroused by them? You can be aroused by anything. The question is, what do you do when you are aroused? Sheikhna, if I see, old pictures and videos of my wife who's passed away, and I get aroused by that, is that okay? Or, should I stop looking at these pictures and videos?
As I've said before, the only way to get aroused is through seeing the wife herself, live, let's say, when she talks or when she sees you, for example. These are all tools which would cause problem.
Fair. Assalamu alaikum. If a drop of blood falls into food while you are cooking, do you have to throw away the entire meal? Do you have to also purify the vessel? How do you purify it if you do? That's on WhatsApp. Sheikhna, first of all, we're cooking something. Most likely it is mixed water. I think it's called, is it mudaf and mutlaq? Is it mudaf they call it?
Mudaf, yes.
Yes, mudaf water. And the drop of blood falls into that. That whole dish now is najis. The food is najis and it's no good for consumption. How do we purify the pot?
Yes, indeed, as you said, if it's a liquid type of food, then of course you have to avoid using that. And but if it's solid, let's say it falls on the, let's say, part of the chicken, for example, or a meat, for example, the leg of the lamb, for example, that part becomes najis.
Can you
You can cut it or wash it under the
you can wash it and put
tap water, and then you can consume it. But the problem is with the liquid type of food, soup, for example, stew.
Yeah,
it's a problem. The whole plate or the whole.
Could I, if it was a stew,
and you have to wash the inside pan, of course,
if it was a stew, could I take out all the vegetables and meat and wash them separately?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah,
but the water, get rid of it.
Even the rice,
Okay.
Soak it in the water.
And
running
then
water.
The pot, you
wash it. Yeah, just wash it. Exactly.
Wash it once under the tap.
That's it.
Okay,
that's fine.
Fair. From YouTube, can a woman pray with large pants? Can a woman pray with large pants?
What is important that when she prays, she wears the hijab that she wears outside, the chador or the abaya, covering the hair, only the hands and the face, and the foot, both feet are showing, for example, in the salah. Other than that, everything should be covered.
Fair. From YouTube, if the father passes away, who would be the guardian wali of his daughter? Sheikh, it would be the grandfather.
Yeah, father of the father.
The father of
would
the
be
father.
Wali.
And if not him, then
there's no wali.
No wali.
Only these two are the walis. Unless the shara comes and.
Normally they say the brothers would step in, but I guess they're not.
Yeah, if there's a will,
legally bound.
If there's a will, then there's different issue that he assigns a wali, for example. It's mentioned in fiqh.
What about Sheikhna if the daughter has a stepfather? When so the father's passed away, there's no grandfather. Now the mother has remarried after some time. Is he now the guardian of this girl?
The main guardians of the wali is the father.
Biological.
And the father of the father, so grandfather. Yeah.
From YouTube, I have a snake in my house, and every time I get naked to go shower, it keeps staring at me. I want to know, is it haram to be naked in front of an animal? Why do you have a snake in your house? Why is it looking at you naked? I do not know. But Sheikhna, getting naked in front of animals, pets. I'll be honest, I've got a cat at home, and it's always in my bathroom because that's how it gets in and out of the house, is through the bathroom from the window. Sometimes I'm there having a shower, sometimes I'm on the toilet, so forth. So the cat's looking at me, or any animal looking at me, or looking at a person, naked. Is this an issue?
You see, the Shara'i hukums, the halal, the haram, the wajib, is upon the aqil, the one who has intellect.
Yes.
Then those individuals who are obliged to perform the wajib, refrain the haram. Other than that, they are not, obliged to do so. The animals, the plants, other substances in this world. So, of course, if they can avoid, it's better. At the end of the day, it's a living being. So, if you can cover if there's a curtain, for example, would be better, of course.
Fair. From YouTube, my husband cheated on me and took a second wife and refuses to give me a divorce. What can I do? Wow.
Well, best answer patience, to be sabr, because we don't know exactly why did he made this decision.
But Sheikhna, Islamically speaking, first of all, divorce is always is in the man's hand. The man gives the...
No, even if she goes to the Ahkam SOS and says,
he cheated on
I need, hukm for divorce, and she can get that, for example.
For adultery? Is adultery grounds for a divorce?
Anyhow, it's upon the Ahkam SOS to decide upon what the actions or grounds that to be given the hukum for the divorce. But as I've said, one should have patience. Sabr is the best way. Now, this is something happened, of course. Before that, we could have given advice to him to avoid it, for example. But it's halal Allah Azza wa Jal, and there are conditions, circumstances in which.
On that note, what about getting married a second time? So, I have my first wife. I don't tell her I marry a second wife. Now she's upset that why have you got a second wife, and I want a divorce. Are those grounds for divorce as well?
You see, I always give advice that if you want to get the second marriage, make sure you don't destroy the first marriage, because you have kids, family, you don't destroy it. And even if that sister wants to get the divorce, how can she make her livings? I mean, she's going to be a single mother, for example. A divorcee, at the end of the day, she's going to damage her life first, because the husband will go and move on and carry on with his life with a second wife. So I think the damage would be mainly on the first wife. So she needs to consider this issue as well.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. What if one is aware that a hairdresser, for example, is attracted to women? Can a Muslim woman still use her services for hairdressing? Okay, Sheikhna, if there is someone, let's say the hairdresser here, and she happens to, she is attracted to women. I'm a Muslim lady, I want to go get my hair done. Am I allowed to go to her to get my hair done, knowing that she is a lesbian?
You see, if you see signs of, for example, haram, lustful, let's say.
Okay, so she's trying to flirt with you.
Exactly, then one should avoid, of course. And of course, one can change straight away. Go to somebody who is not really, I mean, if I see somebody who is acting weird and unusual, then of course I would avoid and change this individual.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. Can I make a replica of my genitalia for my spouse to use if I am unavailable? Okay, Sheikhna, to answer this question nice and easy, are like females allowed to use what they call like toys or instruments in the bedroom department if the spouse, the male, the husband is not available?
As I've said before many times, that one cannot use a toy or a tools to arouse his or her lust and cause ejaculation, only by the opposite sides, so between the opposite sides.
No tools allowed. Sorry, ladies. Can I do good deeds to erase bad ones? For example, if I miss Fajr prayer, will posting an Islamic video erase that sin? Sheikhna, people trying to buy their way into heaven using good deeds and so forth. Sheikhna, I think the best way to answer this question is simple. What is the best way to eradicate and erase sins?
Number one is to make up this prayer, qada, number one. Number two is to istighfar and repent to Allah Azza wa Jal.
Yes.
Number three, yes, do good deeds and amal salih. Indeed, yes.
That will help.
Yes, inshallah.
And most importantly as well, do not repeat the act. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Alaikum salam. Which do I choose? A non-Islamic college with a guaranteed job, an Islamic college where job isn't guaranteed? Well, to be fair, brother, from someone who's done both, you're better off going where your heart is telling you to go and where you want to go. Going to university to learn a career isn't for everyone, and vice versa. Going to the Hawza and learning Islamic knowledge and having a career in that path isn't for everyone. However, what you will learn 100% will benefit you in your life. Sheikh, would you like to add anything to that? Should I go to university and get a job, or should I go to an Islamic Hawza and not get a job?
I mean, as long as you preserve and observe your the piety, your taqwa, avoid the haram, implement the wajib, you can go anywhere, any university, even if it's an atheist university. But you have the strong aqeedah and belief to refute, let's say, and to discuss with the teachers, for example, with the lecturers with this issue. Why not? You're there to change the views of many students about atheism, for example. I met I think a Kuwaiti student 20 years ago. He was studying atheism. So, I mean, if you have this strength and the strong aqeedah, yeah, why not? But not for everyone, of course. Some people would even unable to control their desires, you know, when they see the opposite gender in the uni, and they start to dating and so forth. That's a problematic.
Right, Sheikh, now we're coming to the last 10 minutes of the show. We need to get through all of these questions, so as quick as we can. How was Asiya married to Pharaoh when he was a disbeliever?
I don't have the answer now.
Okay, inshallah next week.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. According to Sayyid Ali Sistani, drawing is halal. But his fatwa, he doesn't specify what is or isn't. My question is, would it be halal to draw, for example, a woman without hijab while still having common decency? Or a woman without hijab but still wearing modest clothing, or without the intention to arouse anyone? Thank you. Sheikh, to draw a lady who is in, let's just say her hair is showing, that's it. She's in very modest clothing, loose clothing and so forth, and she's there, she's modelling like this or something like that, and they are drawing, and there's no arousal or lust or anything like that. Is that okay?
I have to see the fatwa of the Sayyid to see if there's a specific fatwa with this regard. Because you cannot basically show some non-hijab, I mentioned this, non-hijabi pictures of the Muslim woman.
Fair. Next question. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If someone is praying in the masjid and they are using a chair due to a leg problem, where should the chair be placed in the line?
I mean, the back line, of course. Usually they put the chairs in the back, second, third lines.
We have the chairs normally in every row, but it's at the end. So, you know, for the far side of the mosque, there'll be like 2 or 3 chairs in every row. So they can all sit together and there's a nice jama'ah going behind.
Should be fine.
Don't think there's an issue where the chairs are. From YouTube, is ghusl with soap or shampoo valid? Good question. Sheikhna, am I allowed to soap myself up and then make the niyyah and then go under the shower, and as I'm wiping soap off, I'm doing my ghusl niyyah? Is that okay?
I mean, the best way is to use the shampoo and the soap and then rinse it off and then make the niyyah and do the ghusl.
Okay.
That's the best way.
Is it obligatory for a woman to wear an abaya, or is loose clothing fine? Sheikhna, abayas can be difficult depending on the activity. For example, when sisters go towards the gym, ladies only gym, it's hard to do the exercise and everything in the abaya. So they'll wear a tracksuit which is very loose and have hijab. When it's a ladies' gym, normally there's no windows and no one can see inside, so they'll take their hijabs off and you know, train maybe in a t-shirt and joggers and so forth. So is this okay? Or, you know, should you wear abaya at all times?
I mean, the abaya would have more protection and would reduce the showing the shapes and the curves of the woman's body. And she can go to the changing room and change from the abaya to the tracksuit, because I don't think that would help. I mean, even the tracksuits are a bit tight. I mean, even if it's a wide ones, but still could cause some kind of problems if they were in the streets, of course.
From YouTube, will a marriage have no barakah if there was free mixing in the wedding?
You see, playing music, indecent, let's say, music, or non-hijabi, for example, mixed gathering, all these, of course, will take the barakah at the end of the day. I mean, I would always advise that avoid playing music and entertaining music in your weddings. That would take the barakah in somehow. Why should I start my life my family life with haram acts and bring this haram to everyone else who is attending. And then you have the dancing and مصائب كثيرة.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the ruling on a wife wearing bangles with the belief they protect the husband?
So what kind of bangles?
I'm not sure. It's not from my country, I'll tell you
it's
that
not
much.
clear, yeah.
I haven't heard anything like that, wearing bangles to protect your husband. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can I attend a family gathering that they do not use hijab? Sheikhna, this happens sometimes. We know our family, not everyone observes hijab in the family. Can we go to our relative's house if our cousins and the females there are not wearing hijab?
I mean, what is important that they don't commit a sin in that gathering, because we have this issue everywhere in the markets, the supermarkets. Someone who is working in a company, maybe half of the staff non-hijabis, non-Muslims. What is important that you observe, lower your gaze. You don't look intentionally with lustful lookings. And of course, if they're Muslims, let's say, family members, friends, them, try to guide them, advise them slowly, that may Allah, inshallah, guide them and become one of the hijabis, inshallah.
Final question for this evening, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum. Sometimes in the ladies' side of the mosque, there is no direct link between the male leader of the Jama'ah prayer and the ladies. Is the Jama'ah salah of the ladies valid?
There must be some kind of connection. It has to be in some kind. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. I apologize if we didn't answer your question. Inshallah, I'll take those questions and we'll roll them over to the next episode, which will be Monday here on Imam Hussein TV 3, 7 p.m. See you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
يا محلى الاسم من ينادونا وحيدرنا علي خلي يهنونا يا محلى الاسم من ينادونا حيدرنا علي خلي يهنونا هلا بزينب هلا بزينب هلا بزينب هلا بزينب هلا بزينب السر بالا هلا بزينب